Mars, the red planet, has fascinated humanity for thousands of years. Long before rockets, telescopes, or space agencies existed, ancient civilizations looked up at the night sky and noticed a strange wandering red light. Unlike the fixed stars, this object moved across the heavens. Its deep red color made it stand out, glowing like a drop of blood against the darkness. The Romans named it after their god of war, Mars, because its color reminded them of blood and battle. The Greeks associated it with Ares. The Babylonians tracked its motion carefully, recording its path across the sky. To ancient observers, Mars was not just a planet. It was an omen, a symbol, a celestial mystery. But for centuries, Mars remained nothing more than a moving red dot. No one knew what it truly was. Everything began to change in the early 17th century, when a revolutionary invention reshaped humanity's understanding of the cosmos: the telescope. In 1610, the Italian astronomer Galileo Galilei turned his telescope toward Mars. Through a simple instrument, he observed that Mars was not just a point of light, it was a small disk. This was a monumental discovery. It proved that Mars was a world, not a star. As telescopes improved over following centuries, astronomers began noticing more details. They observed that Mars had polar caps, bright white regions at its poles that seemed to grow and shrink with the seasons. This was astonishing. Seasons implied change. Change implied weather. And weather implied an active world. In the 19th century, Mars entered a new era of fascination. During the Great Opposition of 1877, when Mars and Earth were unusually close, Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli carefully mapped the Martian surface. While studying the planet, he described thin, dark lines crisscrossing its surface. He called them canali, an Italian word meaning channels. However, when translated into English, canali became canals, and that single mistranslation changed everything. The word canals suggested artificial construction, engineered waterways. Suddenly, the idea spread that Mars might host intelligent life capable of building massive irrigation systems. Among those captivated by this idea was American astronomer Percival Lowell. Lowell became convinced that Mars was home to a dying civilization. He believed that as Mars dried out, intelligent Martians built vast canals to transport water from the polar caps to the equator. Lowell even constructed his own observatory to study Mars in greater detail. Night after night, he sketched maps filled with intricate canal networks. His books and lectures ignited the public imagination. Newspapers reported on possible Martians. Science fiction stories flourished. Humanity began to wonder, are we alone? But not all astronomers agreed. Many struggled to see the canals Lowell described. Some suspected that the lines were optical illusions, tricks of light and shadow combined with the limitations of early telescopes. As technology improved in the early 20th century, the canal network became less convincing. Observations with more powerful instruments failed to confirm the elaborate grid Lowell had mapped. The idea of intelligent Martians began to fade, replaced by scientific caution. Yet Mars still held mysteries. Astronomers continued studying its surface features: dark regions, bright deserts, seasonal changes. They confirmed that Mars had a thin atmosphere, though much less dense than Earth's. Spectroscopic studies suggested the presence of carbon dioxide. Temperatures appeared cold. Conditions seemed harsh. Then came the space age. For the first time in history, humanity would no longer rely solely on telescopes. We would send machines to Mars. In 1965, NASA's Mariner 4 performed the first successful flyby of Mars. As the spacecraft passed the planet, it captured 21 images and transmitted them back to Earth. The pictures stunned the world. Instead of canals or civilizations, Mariner 4 revealed a barren landscape filled with impact craters. The surface resembled the moon more than Earth. There were no visible cities, no vegetation, no waterways. It was a turning point in human understanding. The romantic vision of a living Mars collapsed almost overnight. But science did not stop there. Even though the surface appeared dry and cratered, new observations revealed valleys and channels that looked eerily similar to dried riverbeds. These formations suggested that long ago, liquid water may have flowed across Mars. Further studies revealed enormous volcanoes, including Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system, and vast canyon systems like Valles Marineris, stretching thousands of kilometers. Geological evidence began telling a deeper story. Mars may once have been very different. Billions of years ago, Mars likely had a thicker atmosphere and a warmer climate. Liquid water may have pooled into lakes and carved river valleys. If water existed, even temporarily, the possibility of microbial life could not be ruled out. So what happened? Scientists believe Mars lost its global magnetic field early in its history. Without magnetic protection, solar wind gradually stripped away much of its atmosphere. As the atmosphere thinned, surface pressure dropped. Water could no longer remain stable in liquid form. It either froze into ice or evaporated into space. Today, Mars is cold and dry, with average temperatures around minus 60 degrees Celsius. Its atmosphere is over 95% carbon dioxide, and less than 1% as dense as Earth's. Yet even now, Mars continues to surprise us. Polar ice caps still exist, composed of water ice and frozen carbon dioxide. Subsurface ice has been detected beneath the soil. Certain recurring slope streaks have sparked debate over whether salty liquid water might occasionally flow under specific conditions. The story of Mars discovery is not a straight line from ignorance to knowledge. It is a story of human imagination, error, correction, and persistence. From ancient mythological associations with the Roman god Mars, to telescopic illusions of canals, to the harsh reality revealed by spacecraft, Mars has continuously reshaped our understanding. What makes Mars so compelling is not just what we know, but what we once believed. For centuries, Mars symbolized war and destruction. Later, it symbolized hope, perhaps even neighbors in the cosmos. Then it became a symbol of scientific humility, reminding us how easily perception can mislead us. Today, Mars stands as both a scientific frontier and a mirror of human curiosity. We learn that careful observation matters, that translation errors can reshape history, that imagination can inspire discovery, but must eventually yield to evidence. Mars may not host canal-building civilizations, but its ancient river valleys and geological scars suggest a world that once had potential. And that possibility, that Mars was once warmer, wetter, perhaps even habitable, remains one of the most profound discoveries in planetary science. The discovery of Mars is not just about one planet. It is about humanity's journey from myth to measurement, from speculation to exploration. And although the canals turned out to be illusions, the deeper mystery remains. If Mars once had water, if it once had a thicker atmosphere, if it once resembled a young Earth, could life have briefly emerged there? That question would drive the next chapter.